I know I started this super quick and took everybody off guard, but
Hello.
things have happened.
Sure, everyone was.
It was
Sure, everyone was just waiting for us.
Yeah, I'm just 100% ready. Like, hi, Chris.
Hi,
Michael.
everyone.
What's happening, everyone?
Hello.
Hello.
How are
We all
we?
good?
Yeah.
Yeah, just finished dinner. Feel like I'm almost alive as a human being
Whoa,
and
whoa,
ready
whoa.
to go.
You had dinner before the podcast. That's a new thing.
I know.
Never
I
happened.
did this new technique where you just kind of like open your mouth and tip, and it's like,
Like a duck.
yeah, essentially, you just add water and you're all good. Like,
Nice.
that's the
So, I know we're meant to talk about
Yes.
Old Boy, and I said I wouldn't bring a topic. I knew I said I wouldn't, but I have a topic
Good.
that I'll just get up on screen.
Well done.
Too much John
so
Wick.
you surprise us. Oh, right, too much John Wick.
Oh,
I
so it's
fucking-
just. It's not even partially related to the film at all. I guess it's related in that it is also a film.
Yes, it has
That's-
films. It has violence, I guess. That's a
What's
selling
that?
point.
I am just needing to update
but-
some of our information because I've not done it because I was rushed. So, amongst yourself,
All right,
Amongst
just hit that
yourself.
like button. Just go. Whatever, it's still good.
Just do
But
it.
yeah.
Why not?
So, yes, John Wick has been announced in there 4 and 5. Like,
Yes, they're doing them both
It's-
together.
is anyone excited for that shit?
no. And I hate saying that about John Wick films because they were such a breath of fresh air when they first released. They were such a different action film, and I watched the third one. I watched the second one and went, "That's okay." Kind of built on the world, seemed pretty cool, slick still. And then the third one happened, and I did not like it whatsoever. But I felt like I was in the minority when I said that because all my friends were like, "This is so good," and I'm like, "Is it? It feels like a Call of Duty level."
I think it's mostly because like we can suffer from burnout. We understand that like stuff does not last forever and doesn't like stay fresh and cool. Whereas other people seem to like just want
Yes.
recycled
Yeah.
garbage. Like
Yeah,
like
they've.
more of that, please.
Yeah, people are happy with cows. People are happy with film cows.
Cows.
Yeah, film
Milk
cows
it.
that you can just continue
I
to
can
milk.
you.
Exactly.
Yes. Just out of curiosity, like anyone else, like right now, because like, I'm watching the podcast on the side here, and it seems to be in permanent loading. Like,
Oh.
has anyone else got it actually working?
Oh, it's in loading.
Yeah, mine's good.
Yours good.
Cool. It's just my internet then.
Right,
Yeah,
okay.
that's all. I just wanted to make sure that before we go ahead, it's just me being shit.
This is such a foreign concept of my laptop being able to do a thing.
Yay! I'm the worst now.
Yep, it's
Always the worst.
it's working on my
Oh.
phone as well. So, yep, Mark, you're the worst.
Just, just me. Yeah, cool. Right, I'll just uninstall Twitch. So someone can tell me if someone chats, right?
Well, it
No,
can do.
no problem.
Right.
So, but
So,
Uh,
like, anyone got anything positive to say about new John Wicks, though? Like,
I like the
It's-
worlds.
it's good that Keanu Reeves is still getting work.
yeah, that's a good. I'd say that's the main thing because he seems very positive about everything he's doing right now,
Yeah.
and that's good for him. Like,
Yeah,
happy
because
for you.
he was happy about the new Bill and Ted as well, wasn't he?
I think he seems a bit kind of weird about it now, but I don't know, like if that's
Right.
just because it's looking to shape up to be a shit show. But
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is a shame. I'm starting to kind of. I like Keanu Reeves as a person, but I'm starting to
Mhm.
kind of go off him as an actor.
oh, okay.
Do you know what it is? I always thought he was really cool and he was this really good actor. But see, the more I watch of him and stuff that's not his big kind of franchises that he's done, like The Matrix with John Wick, I'm like, they're okay, and he in it is just okay. And I feel like I shouldn't say that, but I feel like he's not as up there actor as a lot of people want him to be.
Yeah.
I think because he's such a cool guy that we give him a pass.
Yeah.
I get you. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like in these older movies, I never rated him as an actor,
No.
like ever. Like he was always like that one kind of deadpan guy who was just be like, "Hey, I'm gonna talk like this," and like that was parodied and mocked for like
Yeah.
the longest time. So it's not like
Whoa.
it's not like he's changed much.
Do you know what it is? It's almost as if the
Okay.
times have caught up with him. It's like he's that kind of
He's tired. He's just
yeah.
tired.
He's got that thing of that kind of nihilistic tone. He's not nihilistic, but he's got that tone to him where nothing matters, kind of voice tone. Where I feel like everybody in the world's finally caught up to his tone of voice.
Yeah,
Have
you
you,
are
Chris?
correct.
Chris, have you seen A Scanner Darkly?
No.
Mark?
Yes, I have. Yes.
Yeah, I figured you would have.
Yeah.
It's
Didn't have
it's
Arnie in it, so
yeah. So Chris is out. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
strange one. It is a strange one.
yeah. Also, a good little tidbit from that. Have you seen A Scanner Darkly? It's seems to like ask a couple of questions that I need answered. Is Alex Jones an actor?
Oh
Yes.
God, I hope not.
I think he
Because
is.
I think it's actually a character because he plays this character in Scanner Darkly, and hasn't stopped playing him since.
No,
Right.
I've had that discussion with one of my friends about 2 years ago when like Alex Jones was huge on everything when he was
Mhm.
really exciting. I was
Yeah.
going, his show feels like a parody kind of
Mhm.
conspiracy
But, like-
talk show
Yeah.
that I thought he's
Kind of like
acting.
Yeah, same way that like if you think about like Deantwood and stuff like
Yes.
that, they did it as an act, and now they don't know where the act has ended.
Yes.
Like they're actually living
Yeah.
as that part of them. And I think because like if you watch Scanner Darkly, he's playing a character. They didn't follow him around the street and get him to do stuff. They made up a role for him, and he's acting, and they film him doing the thing, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden that's just now for real.
That's just him. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very odd. But anyway, Scanner Darkly out the window because basically Keanu Reeves is good in that one because he's an emotionalist like everyone else.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
it's animated.
It's weirdly animated. It's animated like the music video for "Breaking the Habit" led by Linkin Park. It's like that.
Yeah. And is it with the Robert Downey Jr. in that as well? No?
Yeah, he's in it. Robert Downey Jr., Jack Black, Scarlett Johansson, I think.
Really? I don't remember her in it. Maybe I'm
I
just
can't remember if it was Scarlett Johansson or if it was someone else. But
because I was gonna really remember her like not knowing who she was until
Till
what's the
Iron Man
one
2.
with the no what's the one that's set in Japan like Lost in Translation?
That's the one. The Whisper.
Yeah.
The Whisper at the end that we never know what it is. That's all I know of that film is The Whisper. I'm like, mate, cool. Oh, other Keanu Reeves-esque news. The Wachowskis have came out and kind of said that The Matrix was an allegory of trans because it was rumoured for years there, and they've came out now and went, yeah, no, that was kind of part of our storytelling of it because it's about Neo going. It's basically Neo going through a change from Anderson to Neo. And
Okay.
I was just again strolling through Twitter with it when I was looking up at John Wick stuff because it popped in because John Wick led on to Matrix, was Neo, and then this.
yeah,
And man, people get real angry when you say stuff
Yeah, I
like
think-
that.
I think going to Twitter was probably your mistake there.
It was, but
Yeah, like that's like choose your soapbox wisely, and also like not to defend like that kind of thing, but it's like it's so weird to kind of tack that thing on
Yeah.
like decades later to say that that's
Yeah.
what it's about.
Yes.
But when like millions of interviews beforehand have said it's about something
Yes.
else, and it's
Mhm.
okay. I mean,
sure.
they made it, so they know better than
Yeah.
me. So
The way I put it when I was reading it, because I was like, okay, but it was the anger that I seen, this boiling
Yeah.
rage from the internet, and I was like, it doesn't change the film whatsoever.
No,
it just means
it
there's a community of people who might actually associate with it more than they did before. And I was like,
yeah,
did
who
you?
can like take something different?
Yeah, I was like, did you still enjoy it? Yes. Do they put it in your face that this is actually what they now say it's about? No. So can we move on? So it makes
Yeah.
me wonder what the next one's going to be kind of like if that ends up being like a part of their storytelling now if
I
it
don't,
came
I, don't,
out.
I don't even understand like how the story can continue. Like they did the thing, did they not?
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
They reset the Matrix. It's like the big reset button and everything's back to normal, but not the Matrix normal, like our life normal.
yeah, but so your only option really is to fuck things up again.
Which is, yeah. But again, this is what I don't get. How do you get Keanu back properly? Because if he comes back, that means that we're going to have the Messiah Neo character, who's going to be OP to start from the get-go, because he's meant to be Jesus, like Matrix.
Maybe they reset him. I don't know. Like,
Well, yeah, you could reset him, or you could have a Dr. Manhattan style character where he's like this super powerful being, but he doesn't do shit.
oh, I actually I agree with that one. That would be a good one if they had Neo become like almost a villain because he doesn't fit in with society. If you get what I mean.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he's the all powerful one and can't relate to human beings anymore and stuff. That would be kind of cool. Like other people kind of rising up and saying, no, we don't want your established order of fixing everything. We want to just live our lives, sort of thing. That'd be cool.
That would be pretty cool, because he could play that in between borderline of like the idea of like consciousness, because you have the Matrix consciousness, which is perfect and everything is normal. Then you have real life, and he's that border between both. So he's a gatekeeper of what I want reality to be to come through, and then these people start clicking that it's actually him running the Matrix now and not. But then you see the screenshots of him on the back of a motorbike with Trinity, and you're like, that's not what they're doing.
So, Wachowskis, if you're watching this stream, the royalties can be sent to Always the Worst podcast.
Yeah, like actually, we should rename this to the "We'll Rewrite Your Movie" podcast
Yes.
because that's all we ever do.
Pretty much. Here's what you could have done.
Not change the name or anything, but like to have like once a month we rewrite a film. Like we just have a discussion.
We do that once a week. Like, give us a...
Yeah,
No, but
it's already pretty much what we do.
No, but we properly go for it.
Right, so
Yeah.
what were we here to discuss again?
We were here to discuss Oh Boy.
Some old
Oh.
boys.
Old boys.
Yes.
Yep.
So, can I just throw out the back, Chris? I'm actually quite envious of you, because you know that way that like if you eat something horrible, you eat something disgusting, and then afterwards you have something sweet, something good, something sweet to take away the taste.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you had that. You ate your veggies and then got dessert.
Yeah,
I did mine the other way around.
Yeah.
I had to eat veggies twice.
Oh no.
I paid for my veggies the first time, like full price. Like,
Oh, that.
On that note, I would like to jump into the reboot first, actually, because I think
is that okay?
Oh,
right?
no,
okay.
no.
Well, right. So
We'll go 2003.
here's the crazy thing.
We'll go 2003 then.
Can I just throw out there? I don't think we can talk about one film at a time. I think we need to go simultaneously through both films.
Yeah, like because essentially, like if you haven't seen Old Boy by now, I'm sorry, but like much like
Spoil.
you two, we are going to spoil the film. And
Absolutely.
it's both of these films like share most of the similar plot points in a sense, but where they start to differ is choices in like characters, choices in like motivations and like personalities, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
I mean, I also, and then it moves beyond that. It's like you got choices in directing, choices in like stylistic, like how things are dressed up and how they're presented. That's pretty much everything else. Like, but the two movies essentially are the same thing, right?
Yeah,
Pretty
pretty
much.
much.
Yeah. They follow the basic same story beat,
Mhm.
almost to the letter. Actually, like the story is almost to the letter the same.
Mm.
There's a couple of differences, but like you could probably describe one film and basically describe the other to a certain point.
Do you think we
Yeah.
could get through this without spoiling the ending, or
No, I
think-
don't. I don't
Okay.
think so. Just
Right, yeah.
because it is so crucial, and like we would get to the end, and then we'd be like, and this thing happens, and it would just become too
Well,
vague and
and also I think the key one of the key points where like the 2013 one like alters things is that everyone knew what the twist was going into that one pretty much. Like you had to like do something, and the thing they did was kind of
Odd.
yeah.
yeah.
But right, so let's just fucking like we'll get into it because we're going to have to talk about the stories, right?
Yes.
So
Okay, so Oh Boy follows the story of Joe, or
Desu.
Desu.
Desu, thank you. Someone else just takes Korean names off me. Like when we get there,
Yeah,
that's just no my. I can't do it. So we follow Joe. I'm just going to go with Joe. I'll be the American in this.
Our main character.
Yeah.
We follow our
Yes.
main
we follow
character.
old boy. We follow old boy.
Yeah.
And we in both films we establish not the nicest dude in the world, and he gets kidnapped and left in a room for anywhere between 15 to 20 years, and then released into the world to find out what happened. And that's kind of the basic story without spoiling it just by telling the story. We'll spoil it in other ways. Don't worry, guys. We will spoil it.
It's basically it's a big tale of revenge,
Yes.
essentially, for two parties. One is the person who put Desu or Joe in confinement, and the other one is of Desu escaping and getting his revenge on the person that put him in confinement.
Yes.
So it's a tale of interwoven revenge on people who both kind of have like a. It's weird. Like one doesn't know who's he's getting revenge against, and that's like his whole entire plight is to kind of like figure it out, the whys and the who and what's going on. Yeah.
And I love that as a driving point of like you've got this antagonist who, like, it's like going to the final boss of a video game and them saying, no, you're not ready, go and get this stuff. Then
Yeah, it's kind of like Zelda, like Breath of the Wild style one, where you go and like you can see Ganon from the start. You're like, there he is. Let's go kill the bad guy. He's like, no, you're not.
no, you need things.
Go
You need
away.
things.
And I love that kind of idea that's prevalent in both of them is the idea that this guy feels like untouchable because he keeps the information.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like he is the provider of the ultimate vengeance and the release of finally figuring out why you've been tortured for so long, and he knows that it makes him invulnerable because if you kill him, you won't know, and that's all you want.
And it's so good.
Yeah.
It's just that the wee
So-
moments of him doing that, of just going, you can kill me if you want, but if you do, you'll never find out why. And he's like, oh, I need to know. And then he just runs away.
So that was crazy because it was so much more prominent in the original versus the reboot. In the reboot, he appears before him and he's just like, I know all your information. And he never says, like, you can kill me now, it's fine, I can just die. He's just like, no, you have to find the information. It's very much like a train track style thing.
See, the thing that's the difference between like the main two of them is like the American one, or like, he's a British. Oh, he's pretending to be British. I'm assuming because that's a fucking terrible
South
British
African.
accent. Yeah, and it's like he does this fucking pantomime shit, and it just annoys the shit out of me. He's like, oh, I'm so evil, and it's like you might as well have a curly mustache. It's that fucking annoying.
My biggest thing about him was he's just like, oh, I'll give you the video, I'll kill myself, but also here's $20 million worth of diamonds. The fuck do you do with diamonds in this day and age?
It was just,
I don't know.
he done stuff like that with his arms that you did there, Michael. He had a moment, he has this big revelation. He's like, I fucked you, and he goes, you're like, why are you T-posing, man? Like genuinely, you're a Final Fantasy character at this point. Like, that's the level of absurdity.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, you know, in the original one, like his antagonist has this kind of like I don't know,
Kill
like
switch.
deadpan face, where he just like everything he delivers is just kind of like, you know what you did, and you deserve this, like kind of thing, and it's such night and day. Like, I mean, did they do that stylistically because they thought that they can't replicate that character? Did they decide to make them like polar opposites?
It just has this. It starts at the beginning for me with that because, again, I watched the reboot 1st and it all, even not seeing them before, it was so jarring to watch him go. By the way, Joe's a bad guy because he spent so much time establishing he's a dick. He's an actual horrible person. It's unneeded because you get behind Desu because he's just a bit of a drunk. Maybe not the nicest guy in the world, but that's it, and that's what makes the twist motivation so heart wrenching.
Exactly.
There was no point throughout that film that I rooted for Joe.
No, I was just like,
I didn't want him to win.
He was basically Batman at some points in that film, like the way he fought and stuff. He was like, right, I didn't know the Dark Knight showed up.
Yeah, it's such a strange contrast because obviously, like Desu, as you said, is like this down in his luck but drunk kind of guy who is not a good father and not a good like person in general, but he kind of knows it and he feels bad about it,
Yes.
and you can see that in him because and you get this kind of level of sympathy for him when he is like kidnapped and put away. You're like, oh my god,
Yeah.
like did he really? What did he do to deserve this? It seemed just like a I don't know, like your average kind of wheeler dealer street bum kind of person,
Yeah.
but like not a mastermind criminal. Whereas like Joe just, I wanted to fucking kill him. I was like, cool, lock him in there and let him die.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, there was like we got less of Desu, because that just added to the mystery, which made everything better. And we didn't know anything about him, so we didn't really know if he was like good or bad. We knew more about Joel, but they just made him worse, which doesn't really make for a good protagonist of a film. You don't tend to want, an asshole for a protagonist. Don't tend to. It can sometimes work.
no, I mean, like, yeah, you can land that kind of character quite well if you give him some sort of sympathetic qualities. But
Yeah.
what was his? And also, like,
Well,
here's the thing that
so I guess his was like he was a divorced dad who didn't really get to see his daughter, but like he did nothing to try and be like, oh, I really want to see my daughter. Oh, I need to get her this. Like, if he's an advertising executive, you can at least bet that he's got some money. So,
yes,
like, why is he behind on these alimony payments? Why is he behind on or not alimony, child support? Like, why is he
Yeah.
not? Come on.
I honestly don't understand like his character in general because like they also kind of try to portray him as like, oh, he's like he's a bit frumpy and he's falling apart and he's fat and stuff. It's like, no, that's just him pushing his stomach out. I know what
Yeah.
a fucking strong guy looks like.
Yep.
He's doing
Yeah.
the before and after pics thing.
Yeah.
His arms are ripped,
Yeah.
his veins are coming out of them, and I'm like,
Yeah.
like because the transformation, like obviously, like the character like Desu goes through when he's in prison is like he becomes so humble and he basically has nothing. He's broken down, and all he wants to do is figure a way out. And so he eventually gets to the point where he's training himself like day in day out to become like this peak physical form because he feels like if I could just fight my way out, I'll be fine. That kind of thing. But Josh Brolin's character just seems to like drink alcohol and then do a couple of push-ups and he's back to normal because he doesn't look any different.
Right,
But the body
I need
transformation
to-
on like
I need to
Desu
stop
is
this
massive.
here. The stream just cut out on Twitch for some reason.
I've
Like
still
so.
got us playing.
Is it still playing for you?
It's still playing for me.
Right, okay.
I'm actually having to use Twitch instead of Skype because it's just a picture of your face frozen on my screen.
Nice. Okay, all right. Apparently we're still up. Sorry, guys. It just
Yep,
on my
yep.
phone. It went. Your stream you're watching has just ended.
Nope, we're fine.
Okay.
I can see it now as well.
Yay,
Hey, I
we're
can
all
see
here.
it.
Um,
Yeah.
I totally agree with you with Josh Brolin though. It's like they
Hmm.
didn't even
Yeah.
try and go. What we'll do is we'll get those shots of you being a bit overweight at the end. We'll get all the bits and then we'll give you a couple of weeks just to put some calories on. You know, put a wee bit of weight on. You don't have to be fat or anything, just enough to make you, or just don't have them topless at the bits because it just so showed it up so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that like this is where it gets the problem is because the remake version of it starts to like ape scenes
Yeah.
that do not need to be like completely like mimicked.
Yeah.
They could have done anything different, but they just went for that idea of like we'll copy the exact same scenes, but we'll just put our characters in them. And your
Yeah.
characters don't fucking fit in those scenes is the problem.
Yeah. I think one of the other things about like what they did to themselves in the rooms was Desu trained himself not just like physically, but we can see throughout the thing that he like tried to educate himself as well and learn new things.
Mhm.
Because he comes up with like little tidbits of knowledge throughout the film as well. But Jeff Brolin's just me strong,
Yeah.
me buff boy now.
He's gone in and come out the same person.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah,
Like,
there's no
Yeah.
change at all.
yeah, whereas like because like Desu goes in as like this kind of like comical character, but the moment he's unleashed, which is the key difference here. Like he's unleashed on a rooftop with a suicidal man, right? And he becomes this like cold, weird character at that point where he's
Yeah.
like holding them by the tie and stuff and just like telling them his stories. Like his personality is transformed like
Yeah.
completely.
It's when
Yeah.
he has that moment, like after the poor guy throws himself off the roof, he just smirks as he's walking away, as if he's like,
Yeah.
well, I was kind of part of that. Cool. And just wanders off, and it's like, yep, you're a bro. That's what they do really well, and it's what I noticed watching it backwards is, Desu feels like a broken guy. Like, he doesn't feel mentally there anymore. And not even just in a psychopathic way. He just feels... The best way I could describe it was, remember Will Smith in I Am Legend? Somebody doesn't know how to interact with people anymore.
Yeah.
Desu's that turned to like 10. Like, he's turned up.
Yeah.
Whereas Josh Brolin comes out, he has a wee moment at the beginning when he gets out. And then after that, he has like a normal conversation, drinking coffee and having a normal day. You're like...
Well, it's the best thing is he comes out of this fucking box after like 20 years in prison and then beats the shit out of everyone around him. Like,
that's another thing that I was going to say is we talk about like the first lot of people they fight as they come out. Desu fights against some thugs, like just random street thugs. Josh Brolin fucking beats up some high schoolers.
Yeah, just like, I'm gonna take it out on you kids. Here we go.
Yeah,
bang,
and
bang,
I'm
bang.
So
pretty
leave
sure
that woman alone. No, I'm gonna break your neck.
Yeah, he actually killed a few of them. And that's what annoyed me when I watched that fight. When I get it, he's watched Kung Fu films and stuff. That's the training he did. But I'm like, mate, you genuinely just Krav Maga these guys into fucking oblivion. How even? Whereas Desu learned boxing from watching boxing matches. And it's consistent the whole way through, where he's a bit sloppy at fighting. But if he hits you...
really bad at fighting.
But when he hits you, it hurts type thing. Because he's like, I've just been punching a wall for 10 years. So if I hit you in the face, you're going to get hit with a tree trunk of a fist. And I like that. I like the fact that his fighting was messy of someone who knows how to throw a punch, but nothing else. Whereas Josh Brolin walks in, especially with like scenes later on.
I love that we've kind of given up on calling him his character. He's no longer Joe Doucette. He's just Josh Brolin.
Thanos.
That's all he was. Yeah, he was Thanos. Like,
it was so annoying to see him fight that good because I'm like, I have no stakes in you getting beat. I don't think that anybody could fight you and beat you. Whereas Desu, he gets wrecked so many times, but he's just nutty enough to not stay down.
Yeah, like. So, I mean, both films after that kind of point, like, just follow the same-ish plot points, apart from, like, in the...
Actually, apart from going to find the information at the school, I'd say is the only kind of difference.
Yeah. Because, like, in the Korean one, obviously, we have... There's a subplot there that's not established in the American one, whereby there's a lot of kind of, like acts of hypnotism, social control, and all that kind of stuff. But... In the American one, it's more just like the guy lucked out really well. That like they ended up walking into each other and managed to keep a conversation. Like there was no any other form of manipulation. It wasn't like I don't know, the other doctor guy was one of his actors or something as well. Like that would make sense for him pushing them together or something, or making sure they're always side by side. But
no,
they just did it somehow.
But it was all random happenstance. So my favorite thing is. I want to discuss something, but involves revealing something a lot later on in the film.
Okay. That's what all of it does, really, mostly though. So we have to kind of go there.
So, they reveal that there was while Joe was in captivity, he was shown a clip of his daughter and the couple that had adopted her, and how she was getting on after he had disappeared for 20 years.
Yeah.
And we only ever, because he changed to the plot channel, and we only ever saw that one episode.
Yes.
But you would think that would be a whole TV show.
Yes.
That's got to be like a whole thing. So either that episode is getting rerun constantly, which you think, like, come on, for 20 years, or he's not only made that one episode, but he's made a whole series.
A series
where are
for
all the other
20,
actors?
20 years he has made a series and somehow broadcast a television channel.
Yep.
It is a very complex setup for very little payoff.
I'll take hypnotism over the fake TV show, please. Thank you.
Yeah. The thing with the fake telly show and everything for me was this is when he falls into that line of supervillain.
Yes.
Like he is an actual supervillain, and I hated that because this film felt like just an R-rated superhero movie at times, where it was just like the villain hired actors for 20 years to portray a violinist to fuck with his head, and then what we did was we actually raised your daughter so that she would be caring and really sweet, so that you would bump and each. It's like, what? Like,
So what was quite weird is like it wasn't even that it was the villain that raised the daughter. It was he found the family for her.
Yeah.
Versus like what we find in the Korean one is that all he says is I raised her. He doesn't say that he found a family, so we're led to believe the villain raised his daughter,
yeah,
Yeah. And also
which is
the major differences between the two again is that like in the American one they try to show you who the daughter is and explain her life, whereas in the Korean one it's more shown that they have no connection with each other. They have literally no idea who either of them are. They've been so disconnected from each other, like they could just be strangers.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's like that twist when I first saw it blew me away.
Mhm.
Because I watched the original first. I had zero clue. And it was amazing. That obviously horrific, but it was an
Yes.
amazing twist for a film.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh god, and I genuinely had no idea. I think if I had watched Old Boy, Chris, I don't know how you feel, but you could have seen it coming.
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, totally. Because again, everything was too happenstancey feeling, and
Yeah.
the second one where you go, this isn't happenstance. Well, the other one, they felt like real people getting connections. They just happened to be one's a broken guy, one's a naive younger person. So they're
Well, she was quite broken as
Yeah,
well.
aye,
Like you could
she
tell
had
that in the
issue.
Korean one she
Yeah,
was like,
and
yeah.
they're drawn
Yeah.
together because of the same cloth type thing. And
Mhm.
but with the other
Yeah.
one, it didn't feel like that. She didn't feel like
But that's the thing that like they put in the little words like, "Oh, I was an addict." Like, why aren't you? You should
Nobody
be the
cares.
addict right now. That's what should make you like
Yes.
compatible. Like he should be the fucked up guy. You should be the fucked up girl. You get together because you're fucked up together,
Yeah.
right?
yeah,
But it's not. They just go. I was, by the way, like in a past life.
And that's
Who
it.
cares? Like nice plot development, mate.
it's like bringing up her past love interest with the other doctor. I'm like, then if they did say that the reason that she was into him was because he was as you were saying, he was the actor who fucked her over,
Yes.
like say like a month or two before the events of the
Like to push her towards another person.
Yeah.
Like at least there's
Yeah.
something there, but it wasn't. It wasn't. And like, I mean, obviously, like in the Korean one, you have to kind of accept things like hypnotism, sort of like things that would basically like kind of trigger certain events in people's heads, all that kind
Yeah.
of stuff. But it's in keeping with the
Yeah.
theme as such, because these are broken people mentally, right? And he's
Yeah, and,
manipulating
like-
them in that regard.
He's also like he's manipulated him for 15 years. Like whenever we tend to get shown hypnotism in the grand scheme of things, we're shown it for like, over the space of an hour or like a week or something like that. This is 15 years worth of manipulation, mental manipulation. Like, and it's easier to manipulate a broken man. So like this whole, psychology and the whole hypnotism thing, totally plausible
Yeah,
in
especially
my
with,
eyes
like,
anyway.
especially with the daughter as well, because like it makes sense that if she was like raised by someone who was
Yeah.
there to exclusively change her to that person, then that's how she would end up. It's like Stockholm syndrome sort of weirdness that they're, I don't know, inflicting upon them.
Yeah,
It's-
absolutely.
Yeah, but like obviously in terms of story, we can all kind of agree that like the 2013 one fell flat, probably because it was mostly trying to be different.
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
but didn't know how to be different because
I think one
Yeah.
key part that they missed in the 2013 one, again watching it backwards, is the
Mhm.
2003 one had this element of almost like a French romantic film. So with the music and them getting to know each other. Every time I watched it, I just thought of things like Amelie and things, of just these kind of quirky
Yeah.
people that shouldn't really attract each other, and then you're behind it.
like Lost in
Yeah.
Translation and stuff. Like,
you
yeah.
go, oh, you get so behind her kind of love story when she's like, just leave. You know it now. We don't. You don't need to go. We can just leave together. And again, if you didn't know the twist before, that moment is lovely. Where you're like, come on, Desa, just leave with her. This is your chance to be happy. Like, but you can't obviously. But see the moments of romance and those the music and everything. It's such a departure from what the film is. It's what makes the film though, because it
Yeah.
gives you that bond. So when that twist happens, you're fucking disgusted. it breaks you.
Yeah.
Whereas the other one,
You're as disgusted as Desu
Yes.
at that point.
because with Josh,
Yeah, that's the whole
with Josh
idea.
Brolin, outside of sex, outside of knowing that he had sex, biggest thing in this film is he has sex with his daughter. Basically, that's what happens, and you don't realize it until the twist happens. But outside of
She's
yeah,
23.
yeah, they're all of age. They're all of age.
Right.
But
Yeah.
that moment, outside of getting like, ugh, because it's father daughter sex scene, which
Yeah.
they tried to be a bit more graphic with showing. I'm
Um,
like, outside of that, there's no emotional connection. It hurts more because you knew Desu loved me.
Mido.
Yeah,
Mido.
Mido.
He loved her, and it was a misplaced fatherly love. That is what that was when you start really diving.
Yeah.
And that's what hurts. Another film just missed the point of that twist. They did the twist of the ooh factor instead of the actual emotional fucking weight that has.
Yeah.
But on another level, obviously, like as you were saying about like kind of like the way the kind of music is done and all that kind of stuff, it really stood out to me in the 2013 one that it sounded like Metal Gear music.
Yes.
Like, did anyone else get this? And
No.
it had this like it was like such an American action film
Yes.
soundtrack. It was for dun 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 dun
Yeah.
dun, and I'm like, what is this? Like,
No, you need
none of it
like the
matches.
stylistic drums and strings to sort of
Like,
yeah.
it was weird, and it just felt totally out of place amongst many other decisions.
Yeah.
It's like if we go about the American action film, we need to talk about the scene, the hammer scene, when
Fuck's sake.
MC Hammer
Right, yeah.
arrived in the
hallway.
corridor.
Yeah, so obviously, like this scene is basically Desu or Joe getting their revenge on the people who held him,
Yes.
not the person who like put him in there, but the people who were hired to keep him in a hotel room for like forever. Yeah,
And that fight scene, we'll talk about Joe's first because I think his comparison over to Desu's is better that way round because you get to see how fucking
Right.
wrong it is when you get to see
Yeah.
because his fight scene was quite cool. It's when if you didn't know anything about it, you go, this is quite cool. He was a bit of a superhero, a bit of a vigilante. He had a bit more of that Krav Maga-esque style, like I'm a CIA agent. Jason Bourne with a hammer,
yep.
Yep, pretty much.
and then he gets
He fucks everyone
Yeah.
up like properly, like, and doesn't seem to care about getting hit. He's just pure like block, kick,
And,
smash.
well, he doesn't really need to care because nobody's trying to hit him.
That's the major.
It's
issue.
also the
At the beginning they do.
It's the stabbing that got me. He gets stabbed in the shoulder and just fucking looks at them like, what? You're like,
Yeah.
cool, bruv.
Yeah, like there's very similar stuff like that in obviously the original one, but the way it's sold to you is that Desu's losing.
Yeah, the whole time.
Yeah.
Like he just doesn't care. That's the problem. He's so fucking ready for revenge that he's got blood coming off of him. He can't even walk. He's like slumping into the walls and basically like kind of pushing people.
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Like
he's like he's not fighting. He's just surviving
yes.
in this fight. Yeah.
As like a wild animal let loose.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
everyone else is kind of like just like what the fuck are we fighting? And they keep trying to beat him up all at the same time and nothing seems to stop him because he's just
Yeah.
so filled with rage.
So what got me about the two different scenes is the one with Joe.
Yeah.
His starts at like a top level and he fights a little bit along and then he comes down a step and then he's on a different level and he walks along a bit and then he goes down some stairs and it's so open. There's so much space.
Yes.
Yeah.
I get he's a big guy, but obviously like it just feels much more open. It's so much more free versus versus Desu, which is in this tiny box corridor with no room to move, and he's swinging a hammer about.
Yeah.
Like it's so tight and claustrophobic. You just feel that in the situation.
It's also like the way it's filmed because obviously if Desu's one like the aspect ratio is affected because like it's showing you from the outside of the corridor, so it gets even tighter aspect ratio.
Yeah.
Whereas Joe's one is fully lit,
Full screen.
like wide open space.
Yeah, that's the other thing is the lighting. It was the middle of the day.
It was
But
like
with
what you
Desu's,
have
you
right
just-
now.
Yeah, exactly. But with Desu's, you just didn't know. It could have been any time. But there were just these tiny lights up on the wall, and that was it.
The thing with Desu's one as well is, see, the fact that he did keep it cramped, it gave him more of a reason why he could win. because in these situations
Yeah.
it's a 300 thing. We'll funnel them to the gates of hell, and we'll one at a time just stab them, because that's how he wins, because they can't rush him. And like a group of 7 or 8, they can't. They try to, and it doesn't work because he can just fucking start hammering toes and stuff because he's going to hit something in that small room. Whereas Josh Brolin, I'm like, they could just generally dogpile you at this moment in time, and you're done.
Yeah.
And
I also
did anyone else think it felt like a bit like a Streets of Rage level when it was Josh Brolin's one? Because like he beats the upper floor, then he goes down the ladder, dun, 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 and it's very stilted, and he's like, next,
and then he picks up the baseball bat, so that's his upgrade. Yep.
See if they did it like Scott Pilgrim style, I would just have accepted it at that point. Like
he just needs to pick up a chicken.
Eats a chicken. The fucking trash can.
What got me was afterwards they both have a similar kind of scene where an elevator opens up and there's a whole heap more, and so they have to fight that. But it just cuts to the next bit of the elevator opening and people falling out.
Yeah,
and in the original, obviously, it's done with a dark comedy level where it opens up and like half a dozen bodies just fall out.
Yeah.
And it just, as they fall like dominoes, you actually kind of laugh and you're like, that's quite good. But with the Joe one, he's just like, it's one guy who's got like a knife in his back and he falls over. The rest are just sprawled out in, again, this massive elevator. Not a tiny, tiny one that they're all stuck in, but it's all bigger. It's like the American classic thing of it's got to be bigger and better.
And then also in like that scene, I think the other thing that's good to talk about is when he basically takes on it's Samuel L. Jackson in this one, but what was the character called again? The other one's like
Mr. Chan.
Mr. Hans. He's
that's the assistant.
Yeah, so it's Mr. Chan and Mr. Park were the two different ones. Was it not Mr. Chan?
Mr. Han is the assistant to the main
guy.
Guy.
Kind of like the woman is in the American remake.
His first name's Park Chul Wong, I think is the name of the guy that owns the establishment.
Yeah, because I think it's because like he's basically a play on Chan Wook Park, the director of the movie. It's like it's a play on his name is the idea of it. Right, yeah. But what I was saying about that scene is that obviously when he meets the guy who was in charge, he wants to take revenge on him in some way or maybe extract information from him. Yeah. So in the 2013 one, he starts doing some fucked up weird ass shit where he's like, I'm ready to cut your head off, but not gonna cut your head off. I'm gonna cut little strips off you and then pull your head off. And it's like, it's so thought out and methodical. It's weird. Yeah. It's like sociopathic, psychopathic stuff. Whereas Desu just comes in and goes, I've got a fucking hammer, bang.
Yeah. 1 tooth, 2 tooth, 3 teeth.
Yeah, he's just like, I'm doing the thing, I'm getting this over with, because that's what he's just there to do. He doesn't know torture. He's just like, I'm doing this because I know this would probably be fucking horrible.
Yes. Yeah. But you need to literally think of like the whole, like, he took the time to fucking find a Sharpie to draw a line on his neck.
Yep.
And then he's like, I've got this box cutter.
He's had that box cutter like a lot of the movie. I don't even know where he got it from or why he has it.
So he used that right in the final fight against the main villain's sidekick. So in the 2003 one, Desu fights the villain sidekick, Mr. Chan. Mr. Han. Fights against him, and he can't actually beat him. He struggles.
Oh. Yeah.
And it's up to like Lee Woo Jin.
Yeah.
It's up to him. He actually shoots his own assistant.
Yeah.
Versus
like,
Joe.
No. I'm here for the revenge, not for like anything else.
Yeah, he doesn't get to kill you. I do.
Yeah.
But then it comes to Joe, who just goes up and is like, slice, your throat's done.
Oh,
Bye.
That killed me, because she is played right from the beginning, in the very start. She's the girl in the restaurant that kind of starts everything off, and she's this badass, and then she's just killed off instantly.
And at one point, she's just in a fucking negligee for some reason.
Yes. Because Spike Lee wants to see some titties.
Yes.
You know what?
Because he just forgot that Google exists.
You know what I loved about this? The cameo from Rami Malek.
That's
Yes,
the fucking
yeah,
hammer
he
goes
was
He
in
into
gets
the
a
head.
hammer in the head. I looked at him there and I went, he's not aged a goddamn day. He looks younger there with the beard than he does when he's got no beard in Mr. Robot.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah, like
Yeah, for the
And
little
also-
nod to the Count of Monte Cristo joke bit.
and also Lance Reddick is in this movie for 3 seconds as well. Like, I'm here too. Remember, he's like the husband of the woman he's trying to flirt with
Oh, yes,
in the
yes,
beginning
yes,
of the
yes,
film.
yes. The
Right.
John
And,
Wick
like,
guy.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, well, John Wick guy or the Haitian or whatever you call him. Like he's got many roles, but he's just in
Yeah.
it like for 3 seconds. What the
I know. Do
fuck?
you know what's mad about that? The revenge thing? See when Desu starts looking into everybody? Like his whole thing is, I'm going to find
Mhm.
everybody. And he realises, as he's looking, this person's moved away. This can't be the person. See when Joe does it? Everybody's
Yeah.
been murdered. Like, everybody's dead in some weird way. You're just like, really?
But the best one is when he turns up to his ex-bosses in like the like dementia ward, and the first thing he does is get his box cutter out.
It's like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah.
It's like it's box card time, and the guy's just sitting there like pure,
What's a box? You know?
like what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like I honestly need like some information from Spike Lee as to if this was a parody, if this was like meant to be like
Because
some sort of like weird comedy
yeah,
spin on it. Like
some of it was so funny in the Josh Brolin one that it didn't feel like it should have been, but you couldn't help but laugh at it. Especially see a lot of his mannerisms in the film, with the way he smiled and the way he tried to act crazy. It was kind of comical. Whereas when
same with the
Yeah.
villain. The villain is comical as
Yeah.
well. It's almost like cartoon, Saturday morning
Yeah,
cartoon.
again, he needs to tie a helpless damsel up on a train track.
oh my god,
Like,
that should have been the end of the film of the 2013 one. He's got
we have me on a train track.
you either phone her and tell her who you really are, or this 1920s train was going to run her over.
As he starts shoveling coal into the furnace.
So I can go make all my money from more diamonds.
But I think we never. One of the things we never actually touched on when it came to the story, and not just like it was. So, spoilers again, right? Because we don't know it's been out. Like the end of the original Old Boy is that, like Lee Woo-jin has had an affair thing going on with his sister,
Yes.
right? Like, and that was to them a genuine love story in their heads. Like they loved each other, and then there was the idea that she might have been pregnant, and so she ends up like killing herself because of it, so they can like save face.
Yes, so
Yeah, pretty
it's-
much. Yeah,
it's
yeah.
because the school
Yeah.
didn't know that her boyfriend was her brother. They thought it was somebody else. It was
Yeah.
like in the school she was just seen as a bit of a slut. Don't like using that term because,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
that's what she was known in school. But to
Yeah.
Daesu, who again didn't know it was brother and sister, but because they knew somebody seen them, that clicked into their heads too much. Of like, if the brother
Yeah.
sister part gets found out, they're pretty done.
Yeah. So it was more like the idea of the revenge in the original one was to kind of like make Daesu go through the same thing that he went through,
Yes.
so that he can understand the experience, and
Yeah.
then like, you know, because he said to him like, here you go, here's your true love, you fucked it, right? I've done this to you, you did it to me. Like it's just that's his idea of revenge. It's crooked, it's wrong maybe, but that's what he thought of. Then we get the 2013 one where it's our daddy fucked literally every single person in the household. We thought it was awesome. So
And you took that for
how
us.
about so how about you fuck your daughter and see if you think it's awesome? Like
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, and because you bullied her, that means you should die.
Like, huh? Like
I know, it's
No.
just so dumb. And again, even when we find out about him spreading the rumours and everything, he's such an arsehole in high school that you don't empathise.
just
Where Daesu,
care.
he looks at somebody doing something they shouldn't have been looking at, says to his best mate as he's moving, and then realises, shit, I shouldn't have done that. Please don't tell anybody. It's like he wasn't a bad guy. He just happened to fucking say to his pal, and his pal was the dick that's told everybody. But Josh Brolin told everybody and made it the biggest fucking. And his pal Chuck was a cunt as well.
Yeah.
Like, you realise you're
Just the C word.
Yeah, it's like you're that absolute bastard. Why did you not get punished for any of this? Because you're the one that followed her about school, going whore, whore, whore in her ear.
Yeah.
But he does get punished, but just doesn't not get the full extent of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, like it doesn't make any sense.
Why wasn't he locked up for I had a point. Yeah, so at the end point, the main villains, Lee Woo-jin, goes into the elevator, and he has his flashback to the time because he was, she went to kill herself, throw herself off a dam, but he was there and he held on to her, so he is eventually had to let go. So she fell into the dam. He felt partially responsible for all that stuff, so he shoots himself in the head. Obviously, because of this whole traumatic thing that he went through when he was a child, of fucking, his sister essentially helping her die and throwing her off a dam.
Yeah.
Versus 2013, where the guy's just like, because my dad fucked us all, and then for some reason he went round the house and shot everyone with a shotgun, and then himself in front of me. So now I need to shoot myself for some reason.
Yes.
It's like, yeah, it's not like his dad went up to him and was like, "Shoot me, son! You have to shoot me in the head."
I'm an evil sword.
His
Kill me.
dad literally went up and just went bang, and like,
yeah, it was a very unceremoniously just went round the house shooting every motherfucker, and it's like none of this is believable. None of this is like I have no empathy for these characters. I'm like, cool, kill them all. Like they're what? Why should?
Yeah. The other crazy thing was the main villain 2013. I can't fucking remember his name. Doyle. No, Price. Adrian Price.
Adrian Price, yeah. A very,
Adrian
very
Price.
villainous name as well.
Yeah.
Adrian Price.
So he's, at one point, we're shown the massive wound on his shoulder.
Mhm.
It looks like a burn.
Yes.
Yep.
It looks more like a burn than a gunshot wound. I don't know if these people have seen gunshot wounds before.
I mean, like, obviously it was like a shotgun would just spray pellets into his body,
Oh,
right?
yeah,
so you'd
absolutely.
have multiple like scar tissue all over the place, but it wouldn't like form in the shape of like something that's crawling up you. It'd be more just like deep set like holes across your body, like
Yeah. But it also depends on like how far away you get shot from. Because if he was up close, like his shoulder would very much either not be there, or if he was far enough away, because it looked like he was a good like 7 feet, as we all should be from each other these days.
Yes. Social distancing when you're killing.
Exactly. If he was a good distance away, the bullets would have spread enough that he would have scar tissue all over his chest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like a pellet,
I mean,
a
like,
stray
no, like
pellet might have caught his
tight-
far arm. Like
It's about this size as a spread in a shotgun. It doesn't go that far.
Oh.
It's not like in video games where it's like here.
I
like,
am loving how our old boy discussion has descended into the scientific merits of how a shotgun wound would
It's
be.
ballistics, like we're talking about now, yeah.
yeah.
But like, I'm looking at the picture of him right now, and it just looks like it's like he got something cut open here, and then like another bunch of lines up his shoulders.
It looks like
None of it correlates with a
no,
shotgun.
it looks
wound.
like a really
It's-
bad skin graft.
Yeah. Now, maybe that's what it was. Maybe they just didn't have the money anymore, so they just stuck it on with whatever.
On note of the ending, I think this was one of the biggest flaws in the 2013 one, outside of all the other ones we talked about. So with the ending, we got given nearly half an hour with Daesu and Lee Jin-woo, just talking about everything. We got given the reveal and the aftermath. We had, I think it's a solid like 5 to 6 minutes of Daesu pleading and begging him, don't do it, don't tell her, because it's finally clicked to him of the situation he's going into. With 2013, we get, that's not your daughter, that's an actress, you fucked your daughter, bye guys, poof. And then he goes on to, then he just puts himself back in the room, which doesn't make sense either.
No, that to me, as soon as he was like, I'm just gonna check back into Hotel California, and he just, you're like,
Gonna
why the
eat
fuck?
some
What?
Fucking takeout for the rest of his life that he fucking hated.
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
it's a-
But what else would he have done if he turned up and Samuel L. Jackson was just like, no?
if you're like, hey motherfucker, you're back, like bang, a fucking mallet to the head.
Exactly.
It was,
It's like, it doesn't like the thing that annoyed me most is the fact when he sits down on the fucking bed and he does this smile to the camera. It's like, what?
no.
What?
No, you're
Like-
you're not happy with that situation.
No, you still
Shut
fucked your
up.
daughter.
Yeah.
Like, like,
And-
please.
But because his ending is just so clean It's such a clean ending because it's like he's a bastard. He goes back to jail basically. He got out, got his revenge, went back to jail. His daughter goes and has a normal life, not knowing what happened. Whereas we have Desu's ending, which brings up way more questions than fucking answers. When he gets the hypnotism done to him to try and erase his secret.
Well,
But
also,
does he? Does he though?
missed at the key point as well that he fucking cuts his own tongue out so that he
Yeah.
can never
Never
tell her.
Yeah.
Because he just wants her to never have anyone
Yeah.
in the world tell her.
And then
Because he can't trust himself.
and then he gets the thing taken from him, the memory of this whole event. But then he has that moment when he cuddles her, where you go, you don't know what type of cuddle this is. Is this a cuddle between people with a traumatic experience, or is this a cuddle between lovers reuniting again? And then he starts kind of getting that cry face that he does, that really scary cry face of like, it didn't work. And he still remembers bits of it. And then he realises that he just needs to deal with the situation. And weirdly kind of stays with her. But I don't know what capacity, which gives all these questions of, is he going to just be with her now? Is he broken? Is he like just broke, where he's not her dad anymore and he's just a guy that happens to be with this woman? Or is he just doesn't care anymore?
Yeah, imagine movies like giving you something to think about instead of
Yeah.
just being
How
like,
novel.
it is over, he is happy, she is happy, the end.
Because now you go, whether they're happy together, say they end up having a beautiful life together, should they? It's that, it gives up
No.
that fucking, it gives that question though, because they went through
Yeah.
all this together and they're trying to make something, and it's like, they shouldn't be doing this, right? Like, it's that moment you go, I'm not the crazy one saying no to this, but the film
Yeah.
leaves it to you to go, oh, I don't know about that, and I love it because it just goes away into the sunset of like, yay, happy ending. Like, it's not happy at all.
Off to live his best Woody Allen
Yes.
life.
Oh man, no.
Uh-oh,
No.
sorry.
Oh dear.
I guess the other
Life,
thing
old
was like
boy.
when you've got the villains, obviously they've enacted their final revenge, and Lee Woo-jin sees that Daesu's cut his tongue out. He's sufficiently happy. He's like, right, cool. He's not really going to move from here, so I'm going to go over there and shoot myself. But in 2013, Price is like, okay, I've broke this man. Bang, shoots himself with no thought of like he could literally just take the gun and shoot himself, and then the whole plan is undone to an extent. It's just like
That's the thing. It's like literally 2 seconds ago, Joe begs for him to kill him. He says, just kill me. And then he has an opportunity to kill himself and doesn't take it.
Yep.
And instead books himself into a hotel.
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel like this is where it confuses me, because 100% the studio did not fuck with this film.
Yeah.
Right? You can tell that that was not something they were like, oh, we need to test this and make sure audiences like this kind of thing, because they wouldn't have fucking launched it in the first place if they didn't think it was going to be just Old Boy, but with like English words coming out of their mouth.
Yeah.
So this is what he wanted.
Yeah.
This is an ending that some director and writer sat down and went,
This is
That's
green
the
light,
one.
go.
that's the one. That's what we're here for.
I don't get it. Again, it's that.
Who wrote this? Okay, I'm going to actually not, I can't find any writing credits, probably because it's all just telling me the actual original manga, the original movie, and all that stuff. So
Is that thing of Western films needing having like kind of bigger budget Western films and needing to have a definitive ending? It's like it needs to have a definitive yes no ending. And I hate an ending like that. It works in certain contexts. Say if I'm watching a big blockbuster, a proper action film. Say this was an action revenge film, like Taken, because it's based, like, take out all the psychological and all the messed up stuff. You want the happy ending. You want him to kick the shit out of everybody, get his daughter back, happy ever after. Doesn't work when the whole idea is you're meant to fucking break these people and break us for watching it happen. You can't have them have a decent ending then.
no.
Yeah.
It's like, even if they had her, like, eventually find the letters and then, like, read through them or whatever and put two and two together once he goes back into the hotel, it just has that wee moment of wonder. Wait, is this what? Something like, because she was such a non-entity in this film in general. She never spent any time with Joe.
And she was 3 years old, right, when her mother was killed, right?
Yeah.
I don't know about anyone else in the world, but 3-year-olds are pretty fucking good at remembering stuff. Like, they can go to school. They know these things are real. They don't just forget being 3.
Yeah.
How did
Yeah.
she forget being 3 and having a different family and being the case like put into like, I don't know, witness protection, then adoption centers, then foster parents, and then moved into another home? Like she would
And
know.
secondly, if you know you're adopted and stuff, like if say she did know she was adopted, the first thing you do when you're an adult, because I'm not adopted, but the first thing I did when I became of age was I went to look for my real dad because I wanted just to talk to him. It's just such an urge that you get that she would have went to try and find out her real family. She just would have.
Yeah.
And
You can't bury
No.
it. Like it was an actual murder
Yeah.
case, and it was, even if you take away the fake TV show, it was still
Yeah.
covered in the fucking news. Like people knew who that child was.
Yes.
It's not...
And so what's even crazier is you consider that she's involved in medical stuff,
Mhm.
and she had access to so much of his blood
Yep.
that she could have literally just taken a sample and just taken it to a fucking hospital and found a way to test it, or she could have got herself tested and found out her own real name or any of that shit.
Especially after, she starts watching him kick the shit and kill a lot of people and have all these weird people coming after them. That's when you go, she's like, no, I don't go to the police. She'd be like, yeah, no bother, big chap. I'm not going to the police. I'm going straight to the fucking police, you crazy person.
Yeah.
And does he, like, he doesn't give a fake name.
No, he uses his real
Right.
name the whole way
And
through, I'm sure.
He uses his real name, and they investigate his past together.
Yeah.
They know who he is, and she must know the circumstances surrounding it.
Yeah.
It just doesn't add up. Like,
I think another sort of small point from the rest of the film that I found quite weird was the main character's friend.
Yes.
So
okay, right. So we've got obviously
Juwan, I think it was, or Juhan.
Yeah, I know who you're on about.
oh yeah, the one that runs the cyber cafe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Chucky.
Yeah.
So Daesu is on the phone to his friend when Lee overhears him calling his sister a slut and kills him over the phone, over the headset. So he literally hears his friend die, who he knows he's been speaking to, so he knows it's him that has died. And Lee just takes the headset and goes, yeah, I just killed your friend. What it is, and fucking hangs up. Versus Joe, who gets a box with a tongue. It could have been anyone's tongue. See if Chucky had like a lip not a lip piercing, like a tongue piercing that we had seen, or something like that. Or see if they'd even see if you had a tattoo and they'd cut the tattoo off or something like that. Good to go. Yep. But that was just a tongue in a box.
It could have been a cow's tongue for all they
it
fucking know.
Literally could have been.
And it's just that kind of idea that pissed me off mostly about this film, is that it's just trying to capture the parts and the pieces of the original, but not knowing how to put them into place. It's like just assembling a jigsaw wrong is what it does.
It's that thing of, oh boy, as you're saying, it came from a manga.
Actually a Japanese manga. Right, which is quite it was adapted by.
Right, so it came from a manga. So the way I like to say it, so it came from a novel, like the equivalent of people adapting from novels over, but you're lucky enough to have pictures. They kind of adaptations work because you'll have a filmmaker that goes, I want to make that story because it's an odd story. So they'll have a vision of what that story is. So you adapting a film to a film. I think that's such a difficult thing to do because you go, I want it to be my film.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it still needs to be their film, because if it's not their thing.
But that's the thing. There's source material they could have referenced instead to create something new.
They got hung up on, if we don't have the big set pieces from Old Boy, nobody will get what we're trying to do. It's that thing of not trusting your audience enough to either just go off the wall and make your own film. They just happen to be called Old Boy, which I'd have liked, which I'd have respected more.
I understand for like the purposes of marketing, you use the name and you use like the credence of the previous film, right? Mm-hmm. That makes sense, right? Because you're trying to sell a product. Sorry. But why would you take on a project if you actually liked the film? Right? If you liked Old Boy original and you went, I could make it better. You fucking can't. right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm afraid not. Like you can't make it better. If you really love that film so much, then it's at its pinnacle. Like it's already happened.
Yeah.
I think Old Boy.
Are
Oh, sorry,
the
on you go.
I was just going to say, are the other films in the Vengeance trilogy adapted from mangas as well, or is it just Old Boy?
I don't think so. I think some of them are adapted from other things, but mostly, I think it's original stuff. Because like,
Right. Because
some-
I watched Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance yesterday because I wanted to try and watch everything before this, but I
Mhm.
only managed the first two and Old Boy 2013. So I'm gonna watch Lady Vengeance either tonight or tomorrow.
yeah, Lady Vengeance is like, oh, it's superb. Like
Yeah,
I think that's the best one in the entire trilogy.
Cool.
Just
and like if you're saying you think that's the best one, like I thought Old Boy was amazing. I think it was better than Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance, but like they're very different films.
yes, they are.
So like,
The only thing that ties them together is the idea of revenge.
yeah, that's
Like,
it.
Right, you should watch, Chris. You should watch Sympathy for Mr.
Yes.
Vengeance because it's got Mr. Kim in it.
Yay, Mr. King. I've seen snippets of that because I think I was watching people talking about Korean cinema and they were talking about that trilogy of movies, and it was him, and it looked cool. It looked very cool. It's just I've never got round to actually sitting down and watching it.
Yeah.
So I was going.
Oh,
Oh,
I just checked there. Yeah, apparently it is based on a comic. Lady Vengeance was as well, but I don't know which one.
okay.
So there you go.
Interesting. So, Oh Boy
Cool.
is a good start to our little month of foreign to English movies because we
Yeah.
have all agreed they shouldn't have done it. Let's see if next week we can find one that works in English just as well as it did in the original.
What are we watching next
Not
week?
a damn clue. I need to have
I-
a look.
Like, okay, this is going to probably be a difficult one because I would like to do The Ring because I think, in my opinion, if my memory serves me well, that the American one actually did a better adaptation. But it's going to be difficult probably to find a Japanese version of Ring
Right, okay. We'll have a look.
because it's quite an old film and obviously it's also like just not popular right now. So
So what we'll do, we'll have a look for Ring because the Japanese version's called Ringu, if my memory serves me right.
Ring
it's just Ring, but like Ringu is just how they would say it because they don't have a letter for G.
All right, interesting. To know.
It's just Ringu. Yes.
Interesting. So
Yes.
we'll have a look for the Ring movies.
Yep.
If we can't find them, I would like to do Quarantine Wreck or whatever combination of those,
Oh, yeah.
those films
Cool.
because there's 3 of them. You were saying, Michael?
Yeah, it's no. I just thought it was 3 different ones, but it is like it's Wreck was the first one, and then it was Quarantine.
And then Quarantine's the American version of it. So we can watch that. If we
Yeah.
can't find Ring, we're going to do
But-
Wreck Quarantine.
I think Wreck was
Spanish?
Spanish, Mexican,
Spanish movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Much like I said, I wanted to do Suspiria because of the the remakes,
Yeah.
but I don't know. Like that'd be also a difficult one to maybe find. Actually, no, the
No, Suspiria's not too difficult to find. I don't know about the remake.
remake is
But
an
the
Amazon film, so it's on Amazon.
Oh, cool.
Well, there you
There
go.
you go.
Yeah.
I don't think the original Suspiria is too difficult to find.
Probably not.
Okay.
You could probably just find it by accident on YouTube.
Yeah.
Like if you looked
Yeah.
for it really that.
That would also be good because I've watched that recently, so it's still kind of fresh in my memory.
Okay.
Oh, the original Suspiria.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's also like there's lots to talk about because it's Italian, but not everyone in it is Italian. It's like it's weird.
Like pretty much known as Italian.
No,
Like,
not at all.
they're all like is it a German school? Or is it? I can't
it's
even
a
remember. now.
German. So it's set in Munich, I think, the Tanz Academy.
Yeah.
And yeah,
So it's
It's-
multicultural.
yes, but no. Let's look for Ring.
Ring.
Let's
Okay.
do Ring.
Wreck.
That'd be good.
And then whatever that film you're talking
You
about.
don't. It doesn't have to be Suspiria. If you can find one you like,
No, I'm
just
I'm-
let us know.
Yeah, because so far that's just horror movies.
Yeah.
Right, I'll try and I'll have a proper search to see if I can find something that's not a horror film.
Okay.
Do you know? I'd have loved it if someone just adapted like a Jackie Chan film, but I know they haven't because that'd just be good to watch a Jackie Chan movie. Well, technically, it's probably something like Police Story in Rush Hour, I suppose.
Yeah.
So, I would think we've aired our grievances about the remake of Old Boy. I think we got a lot off our chest tonight. I feel lighter. I feel physically lighter. after getting all them out. And I would like to thank everybody who decided to join in and watch. I don't know if anybody was watching because OBS is being an absolute worst right now, as is Twitch and everything. So if you were here and if you tried to talk or whatever, sorry I never seen yous, but thank you for joining. It's always a pleasure, and we've been always the worst. That's how you do it, Michael. That's how you do it.
Oh my God, show off.
Bye.
Bye.